Hey elementary, welcome to Hidden Halton. So what is that? Well, it's going to be a pretty cool challenge. Every 3 days, there's going to be a written provocation on the Hidden Halton website, and that's going to be like a tidbit or an insight into something, and you're going to go in whatever direction you want. There's new learning for everybody. This is not a right and wrong answer thing. Regardless if you've lived here for a little while or your whole life, everybody has so much more to learn about our history, our people, our landscape, so many things. So take your class on a mini inquiry or engage in some knowledge building discourse and then share. This is the big point. Share your response to the challenge. Bring us into your learning journey. How are you going to share? We're going to hashtag out to Hidden HDSB. And we're going to retweet some really awesome examples every week on the SPD Elementary Twitter handle. And that's your chance to really take a look and get inspired. We know that all ideas are improvable, and we know that there's strength in learning and spitballing. Speaking of spitballing, if you're looking for some ideas of how to get started, a couple of IPLs are going to do just that. Spitball what they might do if they had a class. This is just to help you get the wheels churning using the example of the Bruce Trail written provocation. First challenge, March 1st, Ferris wheels. Can't wait to see you there.
So although the provocations aren't written at an early years reading level, that doesn't mean that our youngest learners can't get involved. When I read the provocation, I immediately thought of a number of directions that we could take the learning. And the beauty of inquiry is the opportunity to knowledge build and to honor children and students' previous knowledge and experience. So, in this idea of the Bruce Trail, you might consider offering maps and allowing students to share their experience with mapping. Perhaps there's also an opportunity to bring in some of those outdoor learning opportunities and experiences on trails and creating art with natural materials. Also, when I read the provocation, it reminded me of a story. And this story happened a couple years ago in Halton. Um, a bear traveled down the Bruce Trail and ended up in my neighborhood. And so, why not consider sharing a story and a connection as an educator to start a provocation or an invitation to learning with your students? You never know where it might go.
While going for a hike along the Bruce Trail might seem like an obvious choice for a phys ed teacher, there are so many connections to make. Perhaps you will consider what First Nations connections are to land, culture, identity, education, and health in order to understand the context of the physical activities that were performed. How can natural and man-made elements that live in your community or your schoolyard contribute to your physical fitness? You could debate whether hiking poles or walking sticks increase your chances of a successful hike. Or maybe you want to approach this from a safety perspective and discuss what precautionary measures are needed in the outdoors. This year more than ever, PE teachers have maximized the use of the outdoors. Where will your inquiry take you?
Now, history or geography connections might immediately jump off the page for you, but think about how much science there is woven through this provocation. And guess what? It's going to be that way for most, if not all of the challenges, because there is no escaping science. It is here in everything we do and see. From how our body systems might work as we're walking, jogging, or biking along the Bruce Trail in this example, to what you could actually see. And I'm not talking just about identifying trees and leaves, but what's under that rotten old log, or growing in the areas that are colder, wetter, or receive less light than others. And why is it there? How have the trails affected the species that we see, and how can we minimize the impact of humans on the ecosystem that the Bruce Trail transects? There are all kinds of great science connections with the hidden Halton challenges, from light to sound and geology, but let me leaf it right there.